Hello, every folks, and good morning. Welcome to a quick little discussion here on what's probably my favorite thing about Outer Worlds 2 so far. So here's the thing: I've loved kind of games in this vein, going back to like Fallout and whatnot, but when it comes to flaw systems, it's something that has seen a lot of different iterations in a lot of different games. Usually, you're using them for the purpose of getting extra, stat points or getting extra conditions for your character or what have you. But most of the time, especially I absolutely love New Vegas, but a lot of those flaws were fairly easy to work around. A lot of times, when it comes to those flaw systems, they don't necessarily achieve that goal of making you sort of play into the weird character that you're now creating. They don't really make you work around the limitations of your guy's problems. And so, to that end, I wanted to talk about the sort of double layer system that they put into AO2 here. So, I guess technically triple layer. So you've got your initial background, which is like oftentimes going to get you told off for whatever your background was, whether you're a criminal or like a gambler or whatever else. But from there, you've got your kind of innate traits. That's your first layer here, and that's your more standard thing of you're taking a couple of benefits for the purpose of getting a negative. So you can have one trait and be just fine, and if you take two traits, then you automatically get another one that you got to pick from a list. And immediately, I was already happy with just this system because again, something like dumb locking away 5 of your skills is hilarious to me. The ability to go and basically craft things out of garbage is bringing in a bunch of perks that didn't quite work right in New Vegas. Like junk rounds are something that many folks would end up going and picking up and never really using it, even though they thought they did. Because who carries around 5 tin cans for the purpose of making one bullet? It's weird. Anyway, so going down the list here. Then we have the flaws. Now, this is a system that did exist back in Outer Worlds 1, but it didn't go quite this far. And a lot of times it was stuff like, oh, you got hit by plasma, I guess you have a flaw against plasma now. And that's fine. That's all well and good. Some of them did have more interesting implications, like robophobia would almost completely lock you out of using one of the companions because you were permanently terrified of them and taking stat penalties. That one was interesting. All of the random stat stuff, that's some Fallout 3 shit. I'm not really big on that. But when it comes to AO2, what they did here was a ton of fun, specifically because of flawed. So I think the way that this triggers is after you take a couple of flaws. Like for the first few, you just get a little pop-up window that says, hey, we found a flaw in you. Would you like to accept it? And it'll be something like, for example, the first two that I picked here. So essentially for going and buying a bunch of things and not selling very much, there was a option to take something like consumerism here. So negative 15% vendor prices, negative 10% sale value. Okay, cool, that works for me. Something like bad knees, because I was walking around crouched and in stealth all the time, so years spent crouching have really done a number on your knees. They ache and they squeak. As long as you stay crouching, you can ignore the pain. And so, for example, you have your thing like this, where you got a literal crunchy sound every time you go and do that. So yeah, you actually can alert people to your presence based off of how squeaky your knees are. Anyway, getting back to it though. So when we get to flawed though, it's kind of an interesting one. So life hasn't been easy for you, but you've learned to power through any of your disadvantages and come out better for it. So, and they do give you a warning right off the bat. Warning, this flaw drastically changes the experience and is not recommended for your first playthrough. Flaws must be accepted, but you gain an extra perk every 5 levels. This bonus is retroactive. So, given the max level cap of 30, it probably goes up with DLC, I would guess. But as of right now, this basically means that you get 6 extra perks. And those are fine. They're interesting. Stuff like, hey, if you kill something, or if you get a crit with a certain type of weapon, you automatically reload part of your magazine or something. Like, there's all kinds of little bits and pieces that are interesting here, but it probably is not worth it in a sort of meta sense. You're really picking this one for the purpose of screwing with your character, and this is what I love, because if you are forced to take all of these, the game constantly judges you for how you're playing and forces you into that playstyle even more. So, okay, excessive self-reliance has made you an outcast, so now 50% plus vendor prices, but also a bigger chance of breaking stuff down, because I rarely was using shops and was crafting all the time, because I started with innovative over here, so I didn't have to buy bullets, I was just making them out of garbage. So it immediately was judging on that. So easily distracted. Your skills are erratic to say the least, but a jack of all trades is oftentimes better than a master of one. So you get plus skill points per level, but no longer are able to min-max anything. And so this means You see right here, this is the only one that's blue. I'm forced to put a point into this one because it forces you to have permanently balanced skills. That is hilarious. It is oftentimes a problem, but it is hilarious all the same. And this is usually how I play these games, so I love that it basically just forced into that even more. Which is funny because with all of this other stuff and all of the excessive caution and hiding and crouching and stealthing, it considered this reckless. So your leadership techniques leave a bit to be desired. With your companions oftentimes finding themselves in harm's way, you are no longer able to revive your companions, but whenever one does go down, the other will get a boost. They're fully healed and they immediately fill their ability meter, which is surprisingly, again, just useful for the way I typically play this thing. And then this led to dependent. Some lead from the front. You lead from the back as much as possible, becoming dependent on your allies. You deal less damage in general, but gain a large bonus to damage if attacking someone that your companions recently attacked. Because yeah, I was just sending them in and then sniping from behind them. So yeah, this ends up working out pretty well because they take the heat, they take the damage, and I'm getting a 25% damage bonus while doing that exact thing. So ultimately, it's a net positive. Just it takes away from doing sneak crits, which is kind of funny. Which, funnily enough, led to kleptomania, because oftentimes I was just going and picking up crafting materials, specifically black powder. So you'll just have to have it. Doesn't matter what it is, but if it's yours, you want it. You'll occasionally steal things automatically, but anything you've stolen sells for significantly more. Which is good, because one thing that it doesn't mention is that, yeah, this will lead to you getting a bounty basically every time you go into town, which is specifically why I had to go and build this guy around his armor here, because this particular armor gives you a 50% decrease to bounty gains. So he's basically choosing his outfit at this point for the fact that he can't stop himself from stealing things, so I'm trying to be able to afford it. And why we can't afford being able to steal the occasional bottle of liquor will be explained in a second here. Because yeah, when it comes to kleptomania, when it says occasionally, it'll mean like you walk into a room, you've stolen 3 things automatically, and now all of a sudden the cops are surrounding you, asking you to pay up. So this is surprisingly interesting. From there, this is probably my favorite one of these. So profligate spender, due to again the above, because I can't really sell things particularly well. I have to buy them at exorbitant prices, and then also have to constantly pay off bounties. So you're not particularly good with money, and it's been noticed by the crew. Valerie has opened a savings account in your name. A portion of acquired bits are automatically stored for later. Each level you receive will receive a dividend of those bits, but with larger payouts every 5 levels. At level 30, your account is closed, and you receive a payout in full with interest. 75% of all bits received are stored until level 30. Earn 25% of stored bits on level up as interest. Earn an additional 25% interest every 5 levels. At 30, receive 150% of your total stored bits. So basically, this means that the team computer turns itself into your mom from Pokemon. Just stealing all your money and saving it for later because you can't be trusted with it anymore. And then finally at the bottom here, currently the most recent one, because I kept investing in higher magazine sizes. So overprepared, missing only a shot or two, doesn't matter, you've already reloaded. If you ever let a weapon run out of ammo, you'll deal less damage for a short time, but all your guns now hold more ammo. So plus 50% magazine size, negative 40% damage if you ever hit 0. So it's... Dude, it is hilarious how the perks in this thing end up interacting, because it accidentally min-maxed my character in a very oddly specific way, dynamically, based off the stupid way that I play these things. So, yeah, ultimately ended up permanently locked into this hat, so that I have extra magazine size, which stacks with that perk, so now it's a 80% bonus magazine size on a stealth sniper rifle. Essentially being forced to craft all resources that I'm using, forced to run around in a suit so that I stop having to pay so much. Anyway, so yeah, I love this system, man. This is exactly the kinds of stuff that I love in games like this. And so rarely have I seen it so thoroughly dedicated to. So yeah, I love that this is like this. So yeah, obviously, with the price of this thing, I would probably wait for a sale, but definitely pick it up at some point. Anyway, so that's about that. Y'all have yourselves a good one. Take care. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope you found this as interesting as I did. All right, later. Bye.